closely at yourself in the mirror. Look closely. What do you see? Do you see a man? Do you see a sovereign individual capable of navigating the chaos of the modern world? Or do you see a leaf? A dead, dry leaf lying on the pavement, waiting for the wind. If the wind blows north, the leaf goes north. If the wind blows south, the leaf goes south. If a boot steps on it, it crushes. If it rains, it rots. The leaf has no say in its own destiny. The leaf is a victim of physics. Most people living today are not men. They are leaves. You might think you are free because you can choose what to watch on Netflix. You think you are free because you can choose between blue jeans or black jeans. But you are a slave. You are a slave to your own chemical reactions. You are a slave to the external world. Let me prove it to you. It is Monday morning. You wake up feeling good. You have a plan. You are going to conquer the day. You get in your car. The sun is shining. Then a stranger cuts you off in traffic. He didn't hit you. He didn't hurt you. He just moved his piece of metal in front of your piece of metal. But what happens to you? Your heart rate spikes. Your hands grip the steering wheel until your knuckles turn white. You scream. You curse. You spend the next 20 minutes replaying the event in your head. Who does he think he is? I should have done this. The sun is still shining, but you don't see it anymore. Your good day is gone. Why? Because a stranger, a man you will never see again, decided how you should feel, and you let him. Or maybe it's not traffic. Maybe it's your pocket. Your phone vibrates, a notification, a text message from your boss, or a comment from a hater online, or a girl who left you on read. One sentence, 5 words, and suddenly your stomach drops. Your cortisol shoots up. You feel small, you feel anxious, you feel rage. You are sitting in a comfortable chair, in a climate-controlled room, with food in the fridge, and yet you are in a state of biological survival panic because pixels on a screen told you to be. This is not freedom. This is puppetry. The world pulls a string, and you dance. The world cuts a string, and you collapse. You are emotionally fragile. You are reactive. You are porous. Everything that happens outside gets inside. And because you have no emotional skin, you are constantly bleeding. The modern world is designed to keep you in this state. It wants you reactive. Reactive people buy things to feel better. Reactive people vote out of fear. Reactive people are easy to control. But there was a time when men were built differently. There was a caste of warriors who viewed this emotional fragility not just as a weakness, but as a fatal flaw. To them, getting angry in traffic wouldn't just ruin your day. It would get your head cut off. They developed a mental technology to cure this disease, a psychological fortress that allowed them to walk through fire without getting burned. They called it Fudoshin. Let's break down the word. Fu means not. Do means move. Shin means mind or heart. Put it together. The immovable mind. The heart that does not move. This is not apathy. Do not confuse the two. Apathy is when you don't care because you are broken. Apathy is depression. Apathy is numbness. Apathy is hiding from the world because it hurts too much. Fudoshin is the exact opposite. Fudoshin cares deeply. It is fully alive. It sees everything. It feels the danger. It respects the threat. But it does not shake. Imagine a mountain. A storm comes. The wind howls. The rain lashes against the rocks. Lightning strikes the peak. Does the mountain panic? Does the mountain try to hide? Does the mountain scream at the clouds? Why are you doing this to me? Number. The mountain stands. It accepts the storm. It accepts the sun. It accepts the snow. The weather changes every hour. The mountain stays for 1,000,000 years. Fudoshin is the practice of becoming the mountain, so that the weather of your life, the insults, the failures, the stress, the chaos, simply breaks against your stone. Let's travel to feudal Japan, the Sengoku period. This was an era of constant civil war. Blood was cheaper than water. Imagine a general sitting in his command tent. Outside, there is hell. Cannons are firing. Arrows are raining down like black hail. Men are screaming as they die in the mud. The enemy has breached the outer walls. A messenger runs into the tent, terrified. "General, the right flank is collapsing. We are going to die." If the general is like you, if he is a leaf, he panics. He starts screaming orders he doesn't mean. He transmits his fear to his captains. The captains transmit the fear to the soldiers. The army breaks. The battle is lost. But a general with Fudoshin? He is drinking tea. He looks at the messenger. His hand does not shake. His breathing does not change. His voice is an octave lower than the chaos outside. He says, "Reinforce the center. Hold the line." His calm is infectious. It stabilizes the room. It stabilizes the army. Because he is not reacting to the fear of death. He has already accepted death. And because he has accepted the worst outcome, he is free to focus on the best action. You are not in a war zone. You are in an office. You are in a university. You are in a relationship. But the mechanics are the same. Your boss is the enemy cannon. Your bank account is the collapsing flank. Your anxiety is the screaming messenger. You need Fudoshin not to survive a sword fight, but to survive your own life. Because right now, you are losing the war. And you are losing it because you are trying to control the weather instead of becoming the mountain. Why is this so hard for you? Why can't you just be calm? Because you are biologically wired to be a coward. I am not insulting you. I am stating a scientific fact. Your brain has a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This is the lizard brain, the ancient alarm system. For 200,000 years, this alarm system kept your ancestors alive. When they saw a lion in the grass, the amygdala screamed, "Danger! Run! Fight! Freeze!" It dumped adrenaline into the blood. It shut down the digestion. It narrowed the vision. It turned off the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that thinks, plans, and reasons. In front of a lion, you don't need to think about philosophy. You need to run. But here is the tragedy of the modern man. There are no lions anymore. But your amygdala doesn't know that. To your lizard brain, everything is a lion. Your girlfriend says, "We need to talk." Lion. Your credit card is declined. Lion. You walk into a party where you don't know anyone. Lion. The physiological response is exactly the same. Your brain hijacks your intelligence. You become stupid. You become aggressive. You become shaky. This is called an amygdala hijack. And most of you spend 90% of your waking life in a low-level amygdala hijack. You are chronically stressed, chronically inflamed, chronically defensive. You are walking through life looking for threats that don't exist, defending an ego that isn't real. Fudoshin is the biological override of this system. The samurai realized that if you let the lizard drive the car, it will drive you off a cliff. They developed training methods, breathing, meditation, exposure to cold, exposure to death, to retrain the amygdala. To tell the lizard, "I see the threat, but I am not running." When a master achieves Fudoshin, his heart rate barely moves in combat. He retains access to his prefrontal cortex. While his enemy is raging and swinging blindly out of fear, the master is calculating. He is observing. He is present. And that is why the master wins. Not because he is faster, not because he is stronger, but because he is awake, while his enemy is hallucinating in a nightmare of fear. Chapter 3. The Illusion of Control. The root of your emotional fragility is a single, poisonous belief. You believe that for you to be okay, the world must be okay. You have a mental contract with the universe that says, if I work hard, I should get promoted. If I am nice to her, she should love me. If I leave early, there should be no traffic. And when the universe breaks this contract, which it does every single day, you feel betrayed. You feel like a victim. It's not fair, you scream. Why is this happening to me? This is the mindset of a child. The Stoics and the samurai operated on a different operating system. They understood the dichotomy of control. Epictetus said it best. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. Fudoshin requires you to brutally accept that you control almost nothing. You do not control the economy. You do not control the weather. You do not control what people think of you. You do not control if you get cancer. You do not even control if you wake up tomorrow morning. You control exactly two things: your actions and your attitude. That's it. Everything else is the wind. When you base your happiness on the wind, you will always be unstable, because the wind is unstable. When you try to force people to like you, you are trying to control the wind. When you get angry at traffic, you are yelling at the wind. When you worry about the future, you are afraid of the wind. The man with Fudoshin builds his house on the rock of his own will. He focuses 100% of his energy on his own conduct. Did I act with honor? Did I give my best effort? Did I keep my word? If the answer is yes, then the result does not matter. Let me repeat that. The result does not matter. Archery master Awa Kenzo taught his students, do not aim at the target. Why? Because hitting the target is a result. It is in the future. It is external. A gust of wind can take the arrow. If you focus on the target, you get anxious. You get tight. You try to force the arrow. Instead, focus on the form. Focus on the breath. Focus on the release. If the form is perfect, the hit is inevitable. But modern men are obsessed with the target. You want the money. You want the girl. You want the six-pack abs. You are staring at the target so hard that your form is garbage. You are desperate, and desperation smells. It repels the very things you want. Fudoshin is the art of detachment from the outcome. You do the work because it is who you are, not because of what you get. And ironically, when you stop caring about the outcome, you usually get it. Because you are calm, you are focused, you are immovable. Chapter 4. The 4 Pillars of Fudoshin. So, how do we build this? How do we turn a leaf into a mountain? You cannot just decide to have Fudoshin. You cannot read a book and become a samurai. It must be forged, like steel. Heated, hammered, cooled, and heated again. There are 4 pillars you must build in your psyche. Pillar 1. Shio, abandonment. You must abandon the hope for an easy life. Stop waiting for things to get better. Stop waiting for the right time. Accept that life is suffering. Accept that chaos is the default state of nature. Once you accept that life is hard, it stops being hard because you stop fighting it. You stop saying, "Why me?" and start saying, Try me. Pillar 2, Zanshin, lingering mind. This means total awareness. Most of you are sleepwalking. You are lost in your phone, or lost in your past, or lost in your fantasies. Fudoshin requires you to be here, now. When you wash the dishes, just wash the dishes. Feel the water. Feel the plate. If you can stay present in the small things, you will stay present in the big things. If you can wash a dish with Fudoshin, you can handle a crisis with Fudoshin. Pillar 3, Mushin, no mind. This is the silence we talked about. Stopping the internal chatter. The voice in your head that judges, complains, and worries. That voice is not you. That voice is the enemy. You must learn to watch that voice without believing it. Oh, look. My brain is producing anxiety. That's interesting. Observe it. Don't become it. Pillar 4, Shai-Ne, death awareness. The samurai meditated on their own death every morning. They visualized being cut, being shot, being burned. Why? To be morbid? Number, to be free. The root of all fear is the fear of death. If you are already dead, what is there to fear? You have already accepted the worst-case scenario. The small problems of daily life become jokes. Your boss yelling at you? Who cares? You are going to die anyway. This perspective is the ultimate liberation. Chapter 5. The ego is the target. Now we must address the invisible wound, the reason you bleed when the world cuts you. Why do things hurt you? Why does an insult sting? Why does rejection burn like fire? Because the arrow hits something. If you shoot an arrow at the empty sky, it hits nothing. It causes no pain. It simply passes through. But you are not the empty sky. You are a solid block of ego. You have built a massive, fragile statue of yourself. I am a smart person. I am a successful person. I am a lovable person. You spend your whole life polishing this statue, protecting it, and because it is so big, it is an easy target. Every criticism chips the paint. Every failure cracks the stone. Fudoshin requires you to smash the statue. The concept of mushin, no mind, is also the concept of no self. If you are nobody, you cannot be insulted. If you have nothing to prove, you cannot be humiliated. If you don't need to be right, you cannot be drawn into stupid arguments. Think of the internet trolls. They thrive on your reaction. They want to hit your ego. If you react, you prove them right. You prove that you have a button they can push. But if you are the void, if you are the empty sky, their words pass through you. You don't ignore them because you are holding back anger. You ignore them because they literally do not register as important. It is like a dog barking at a tank. The tank does not stop to bark back. The tank does not even know the dog exists. Be the tank. Be the void. Let me tell you a story about Hakuin, the Zen master. The story is the ultimate litmus test for Fudoshin. Hakuin was highly respected, a pure monk living a quiet life. A girl in the village got pregnant. Her parents were furious. They demanded to know who the father was. The girl was afraid to name her real lover, so she lied. She said, "The father is Hakuin." The parents marched to the temple. They screamed at Hakuin, "You fake! You hypocrite! You got our daughter pregnant!" It ruined his reputation instantly. The whole village spat on him. What did Hakuin do? Did he defend himself? Did he scream, "I am innocent"? Did he hire a lawyer? No. He looked at them and simply said, "Is that so?" He accepted the baby. He cared for it for a year. He lost everything, but he remained immovable. He loved the child. He was at peace. Later, the girl felt guilty. She confessed the truth. The father was the fishmonger. The parents came back, crying, begging for forgiveness. "We are so sorry. We were wrong. Please give us the baby back." Hakuin handed the baby over. He didn't get angry. He didn't say, "I told you so." He simply said, "Is that so?" This story terrifies the modern mind. But it's unfair. He should have fought. You missed the point. Hakuin was untouchable. His peace did not depend on his reputation. His peace did not depend on the villagers' opinion. He was free. Whether they called him a saint or a sinner, it was just wind. He knew who he was. Can you imagine that level of power? To be completely immune to praise and blame? To walk through a crowd of people hating you and feel nothing but compassion for their ignorance? That is the peak of Fudoshin. That is the goal. But you are far from that. You get upset if the barista gets your order wrong. We have a long way to go. So how do we physically install this software? Because Fudoshin is not just mental, it is physical. We need to talk about the hara. The samurai discovered a biological switch that modern science is just beginning to understand. They called it the tanden, or the hara. It is a point 2 inches below your navel. To the Japanese warrior, this was the center of the spirit. To the modern biologist, this is the center of gravity and the gateway to the vagus nerve. When you are afraid, where is your breath? It is in your chest. It is in your throat. It is shallow, fast, and erratic. This signals the brain. Panic. When a master is calm, his breath is nowhere near his chest. It is deep in his belly. The samurai trained to breathe into the balls. By forcing the breath down into the hara, you physically stimulate the vagus nerve. You force the body to switch from sympathetic, fight or flight, to parasympathetic, rest and digest. This is the iron belly technique. You cannot have an immovable mind with a fluttering chest. It is physically impossible. If you want to control your emotions, you must first control your diaphragm. Try this experiment. Next time someone insults you, or next time you get a stressful email, do not reply. Do not speak. Do not think. Immediately drop your attention to your navel. Force your breath down. Expand your stomach like a balloon. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale slowly for 8 seconds. Do this 3 times. You will feel the chemistry of your blood change. The cortisol will flush out. The adrenaline will recede. The fog will clear. You will look at that email again and you will laugh. Why was I upset about this? You have re-engaged the prefrontal cortex. You have stepped out of the matrix of emotion and back into reality. This is the secret weapon. Between stimulus, what happens to you, and response, what you do, there is a space. In that space is your freedom. Most people have no space. Stimulus equals response. Insult equals anger. Problem equals panic. The breath, the iron belly, creates the space. It pries open the gap. It gives you the 1 second you need to choose Fudoshin instead of fear. Chapter 6. The Modern Misogi. We have talked about the mind, Mushin. We have talked about the breath, Hara. Now we must talk about the environment. You cannot build a callus on a hand that never touches anything rough. You cannot build Fudoshin in a life that is perfectly comfortable. The modern world is an incubator for weakness. Everything is soft. The chairs are soft. The food is soft. The temperature is always 72 degrees. If you are cold, you turn up the heat. If you are hungry, you order Uber Eats. If you are bored, you open TikTok. You have eliminated all friction from your life. And because you have eliminated friction, you have eliminated growth. You have become allergic to discomfort. That is why a cold shower feels like torture to you. That is why a difficult conversation feels like a panic attack. Your tolerance for pain is zero. The samurai understood that comfort is a slow poison. It lulls the spirit to sleep. To keep the blade sharp, they practiced misogi. Misogi is the Shinto practice of ritual purification. Traditionally, this involved standing under an ice-cold waterfall in the dead of winter, chanting prayers until the mind went silent and the body went numb. They didn't do this to get clean. They did this to shock the spirit back into the body. They did this to prove to the lizard brain, I am the master here. Not the cold, not the pain, me. You do not need a waterfall. You need a modern misogi. You need to deliberately inject manageable suffering into your life. You need to simulate the chaos of war in a controlled environment so that when real war comes, you are ready. What does a modern misogi look like? It looks like the cold shower. Every morning, turn the knob to the coldest setting. Stand there for 3 minutes. Your brain will scream. Your breath will panic. Get out! It's cold! This is stupid. Stay. Force your breath down into your hara. Look at the wall. Do not shake. Do not shiver. Accept the cold. Become the cold. When you step out, you have won the first victory of the day. The traffic jam later will seem like nothing compared to the freezing water. It looks like fasting. Go 24 hours without food. Your stomach will growl. Your dopamine receptors will scream for sugar. Watch the hunger. Is that so? Do not eat. Prove to your body that you are not a slave to your appetite. It looks like silence. Sit in a room for 30 minutes with no phone, no music, no books. Just sit. Your mind will go crazy. It will try to entertain you. It will remind you of embarrassing things you did in 2014. Let it. Sit through the boredom until the boredom turns into peace. These are not punishments. They are exercises. Just as you lift weights to build a bicep, you lift suffering to build Fudoshin. If you do this, if you embrace the cold, the hunger, and the silence, something shifts in your eyes. You stop looking like a domesticated animal. You start looking like a predator. People will notice. They won't know why, but they will feel safer around you because they can sense that you are anchored. They can sense that while they are leaves blowing in the wind, you are the rock that breaks the wind. Chapter 7. The Choice. We are coming to the end of this transmission. You have a choice to make. You can close this video and go back to your life. You can go back to getting angry at traffic. You can go back to seeking validation from strangers on the internet. You can go back to being a leaf. It is an easier life. It is a comfortable life. But it is a life of slavery. Or you can choose the path of Fudoshin. You can decide right now that you are done being a victim of your own biology. You can decide that from this moment forward, you will be the mountain. It will not be easy. You will fail. You will get angry. You will get anxious. That is okay. The goal is not perfection. The goal is the return. When you catch yourself being a leaf, stop, breathe into the hara, find the space, and return to the mountain. Do this 1,000 times. Do this 10,000 times. And one day, you will realize that the storm is still raging, but you are no longer wet. You are the calmness in the center of the cyclone. You are the eye of the storm. If this philosophy resonates with you, if you are tired of being weak, then you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Join the few who are walking this path. Leave a comment below and tell me, what is your modern misogi going to be? Cold? Fasting? Silence? Declare it publicly. Make it real. The world is chaotic. Be the order. The world is fearful. Be the courage. The world is moving. Be immovable. See you on the path.